Okay, less defense or the immune system is weak. That's why they face a lot of infections. So overall, their health is compromised. Okay, this compromised health in long term leads to the behavioral change, psychosomatic changes, and also the it impacts on the academic and the school performance. So you can see at a personal level, if the child doesn't get nutrition, proper nutrition in their growing years, the 2 to 5 years, which is a very critical or important window, it has a health impact at the personal level. As I said earlier, it doesn't stop there. It actually expands and to the society, because at the society, if at the national level, this stunting, definitely malnourishment or undernutrition has an impact because it increases the disease burden, it increases the healthcare expenditure by the government, and ultimately it leads to the compromised society with less productivity. So definitely, many people, all the stakeholders are doing a lot of work. They are working together to tackle this problem which India is facing currently. Abbott actually take immense pleasure to contribute and to take this cause globally, being a nutrition company and a leader in scientific nutrition globally. We have taken the lead and we have taken this cause, and we have actually formed a Abbott Center for Malnutrition Solutions. Okay, in this center, we actually work in a collaborative approach with stakeholders from right from the scientists, researchers, academicians, medical school institute, and also the governments to come out with the solutions right from the diagnosis, treatment, monitoring, and the management overall, and the prevention, of course, of this cause. And that's why actually we are here to discuss more about this. So I'll stop here and not take much time because I'll set the context. Here we have the experts, Dr. Roy and Dr. Petro, I think Alarcon. They have extensive experience in the research, nutrition research, and Dr. Roy brings a lot of experience in the clinical terms, how to manage and what exactly happens and what are the effect and how best we can, what is the local impact maybe in West Bengal or Calcutta, and how we can actually manage so that the child actually gets the right nutrition, they achieve their milestones, they grow, learn, thrive, and achieve their maximum potential. So with this, I stop here and I hand over the dais to Dr. Pedro Alcon.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. I would like to start by mentioning that poor nutrition is not uncommon worldwide. And poor nutrition is not necessarily and exclusively that the kid is not getting enough food. There are other factors that are involved in this so-called poor nutrition. What happens when you have a kid that is not getting enough nutrition? When a kid is not getting enough nutrition, you may end up initially with two big problems. First, is going to affect the growth, the physical growth, meaning the height, the stature, but in addition, will affect what we call development, meaning that the child is going to affect his anthropometric, we call growth, height, stature, weight, but at the same time, the development of the kid is affected. Why? What we need by development? Brain development, immune development, the defense of the kid, bone development, GI development. Therefore, poor nutrition will affect the growth and development of the kid. It is well known that those kids that are not getting enough or they have undernutrition, are getting not enough nutrition, they affect primarily their immunity, their defense, how they defend themselves against respiratory infections, diarrhea. Then, since they are not getting enough nutrition, her body or his or her body will not produce soldiers that will defend. Okay? Then we know if the kid is not in good shape with nutrition, all the time is going to be with coughing, otitis, bronchitis, okay, or diarrhea, chronic diarrhea. And then the kid is exposed to antibiotics, which is even worse because it's a vicious circle. All the time, sick because of this. Therefore, nutrition in this regard is important. And then what we as scientists or as a medical community should do, we need to educate parents and educate the community on how to feed properly to a kid. In many cases, the food is there. Local food is there, but parents don't know how to combine ingredients and provide a nutritious meal to the kid. If the kid is just getting rice, or noodle, or bread, this is okay. Maybe the amount of calories that the kid is getting is enough. From the society point of view, it's okay. But that rice, those noodles, they don't contain iron, they don't contain zinc, other we call micronutrients. And right now, you need to know, because it's very new, this, what we call occult or hidden hunger. This is a very important term that you journalists should know. Occult or hidden hunger. What that means? Means that the kid is maybe with weight more or less, but since the kid is not getting a balanced food, is not getting enough minerals, enough vitamins. Let's put an example. What happens if a kid is not getting enough iron? If he's not getting enough iron, will have consequences. First, iron is highly related to cognition, to IQ, to brain development. Therefore, if the kid is not getting micronutrients, for example, iron within the diet, because it's getting a diet that is poor in this mineral, therefore the kid is, for example, when the kid is just born, he is supposed, for example, to have 110 or 120 as an IQ, okay? This we call biological clock, okay? This is what that kid is supposed to get. That is the IQ, the intelligence that he is supposed to get. But if the kid at early age is not getting a balanced nutrition with poor amount of iron, for example, will not reach that potential. Will not reach. And then at the end of the day, those kids at an early age are not getting enough nutrition, in some cases will be second-class citizens. This is well accepted worldwide. We need to be very concerned of how to feed kids at early age. It means that parents should provide kids with a balanced nutrition. Balanced nutrition means that the meal should have two pieces. One piece is what we call macronutrients, meaning what is macronutrients? Carbohydrates, lipids or fats, and protein. This is the macronutrients. But also should receive micronutrients. I already mentioned just one, iron. But what happens if a kid is, because of this very restrictive diet, is not getting zinc, for example? Very important. Zinc is extremely important as iron. Why? Because zinc is responsible for immunity. It's responsible for growth, linear growth in stature, whatever. The body, the 70% of immunity is in the GI tract, and zinc plays an important role in the immunity of the GI tract. Therefore, appetite. Kids that are not getting enough micronutrients, meaning minerals and vitamins, those are micronutrients, they don't get appetite because of many factors. But one important factor is that their body, their storage locations for these micronutrients are depleted. Therefore, they don't have enough iron, they don't have enough zinc, but zinc is highly related to appetite. You feed this kid, research have shown, you feed this kid for X periods of time, and appetite will reappear. Okay? Finally, I want to mention that parents need to be creative. We as a group, you as to teach that parents need to be not only to provide the right food to the kid, but also there are other pieces that the food that kid should receive need to be, in attractive way for the kid. Change colors, change texture. That is important for kids. And in some cases, you will see that food parents do the best in order to provide kids with the best nutrition possible. But if the kid is picky eater, okay, some of your kids are maybe picky eaters, or if the kid is with undernutrition, you need to see what you are going to do in order to improve the nutritional status of that kid. And then knowing that I'm going to provide a nice a combination of a balanced nutrition, and I offer the nutrition to the kid. And the kid is going to get maybe 50% of what I am offering, because no appetite, they don't have interest in getting what I am offering. In that case, science is telling us that it is not a bad idea to supplement the meal of the kid with a nutritional supplementation. Nutritional supplementations are tools that help the kid to catch up. We use that word, catch up faster, that process. Because if the kid is getting, let's say, you are supposed to eat, for example, just an example, you are supposed, your goal is that your kid receives, let's say, 800 calories per day. But the way how you are feeding the kid with your meal is getting just 500. But there is a gap. What you will do with that gap? That's the way the science is suggesting you may need to supplement, okay, that diet with an oral supplementation. Oral supplementation does not replace meals. It's a complement, okay? And studies have shown that some oral supplements contain what we call bioactive. Look at the word that I'm using, bioactive nutrients. And I will finish by saying the following. For example, milk has, the protein in milk has two portions. One portion is called casein, and the other portion is whey, correct? Whey and casein are the parts of milk, okay? Studies have shown that if I take a piece of casein and treat in the lab, treat in the industry, that small piece of casein, I can optimize the role, the functional role of that new casein. Why? Because that casein will combine with calcium. And I will be able, by adding this new casein, I will optimize the absorption, for example, of calcium. I may optimize the absorption of other minerals like zinc, etc. Therefore, I will finish here saying that first, undernutrition, poor nutrition is really a problem worldwide. But there are ways how we should support the recovery of the kid. And this is not just a medical health responsibility. We, as a whole, as a society, we need to understand what are the tools that we may need to use in order to recover those kids and avoid that later on they are going to be second-class citizens. Thank you.
So thank you, Dr. Pedro, and thanks, Dr. Kare, for your enlightening talks. Now, dear friends, the journalists, I can talk in Bengali. I think, will you be comfortable in that? So I can be a bridge between Dr. Pedro and Dr. Kare with you. You can ask me in Bengali and I can answer. I can just summarize what they said basically. Before going to my talk is not much because they have given and enlightened you what basically nutrition, what are the malnutrition and how to tackle that. Dr. Khare has given an overview. উনি বলেছেন যেটা সেটা হচ্ছে India and throughout the world malnutrition, how much it is prevalent, এর সংখ্যাটা কত, এবং malnutrition is not only low body weight. Malnutrition means unbalanced nutrition. It may be high, it may be low. So both sides it is like obesity or একটা malnutrition. Weight কমটাও একটা malnutrition. Stunting is one malnutrition. Again, obesity is also a malnutrition. And India, one of the topper in that list. Because all the third world countries in the where poverty is there, their malnutrition, stunting and wasting, these things are very common. এই জিনিসগুলো আমাদের দেশে যথেষ্ট বেশি. It is not necessary to go to Kalahandi or other parts where the poverty is too much. Even in Calcutta, slum dwellers, you will get children who are malnourished. যাদের যতটা ওজন থাকার কথা সেটা নেই, যে হাইট অ্যাটেইন করার কথা ছিল সেটা নেই. This is first part. Second thing, what Professor Pedro said, that malnutrition শুধুমাত্র যে ওজন বা হাইট কমায় তা নয়, it involves the or it deters the development. সে ডেভেলপমেন্টটা অনেক রকমের হয়. শরীরের লম্বা বাড়ছে না যেমন হয়, তেমনি ব্রেনের ডেভেলপমেন্টও কম হবে, তার ইমিউনিটি ডেভেলপমেন্ট কম হবে, তার রোগ প্রতিষেধক ক্ষমতা কম হবে. সো ইট অ্যাফেক্টস almost all parts of the body, all systems of the body, if the child is not getting adequate nutrition. So it is not that একটা বাচ্চার ওজন ভালো থাকলেই সে যথেষ্ট নিউট্রিশন পাচ্ছে. Like Dr. Pedro impressed upon this iron and zinc. Like ধরা যাক এই ঘরটা তৈরি হচ্ছে, there are lights, all these lights are put, but if you don't have wiring, will the lights be on? No. Similarly, we are born with our brain, but from 6 months to 2 years, if the child is not getting adequate iron, the association fibers will not be developed. So the wiring will not be there. ব্রেনের মধ্যে বিভিন্ন নার্ভ সেলসগুলোর মধ্যে ইন্টারকানেক্টিভিটি তৈরি হয় না. As a result, their cognitive performance will be less. The child will have a lesser IQ and the child will never attain the potential what the child could have. So supplementation of iron. Again, if the child is anemic but having a normal weight, the child is suffering from malnutrition. It's not that the weight or height is the only thing. If the child is, যদি বাচ্চাটার জিঙ্ক শরীরে কম থাকে, তাহলে তার রোগ প্রতিষেধক ক্ষমতা কম তৈরি হবে. The child will be repeatedly suffering from different diseases. এটা ডায়রিয়া হতে পারে, এটা সর্দি কাশি হতে পারে, বারবার ভাইরাল ফিভার হতে পারে. But again, I say the child may have a normal weight, normal height, but these micronutrients are very important. Similarly, iodine is another very important micronutrient because আমাদের যে থাইরয়েড হরমোন সেটা তৈরি হতে গেলে আয়োডিন লাগে. So if the child is deficient of iodine, তাহলে তার ব্রেনের ডেভেলপমেন্ট হবে না, তার বুদ্ধির বিকাশ হবে না. সেই জন্য গভর্নমেন্ট থেকে এখন সমস্ত salt is almost 90% of the salt that is consumed in our country iodized salt. So this is the second part. Third, and this is known as a very important term, Dr. Pedro has said, এটাকে বলা হয় hidden hunger. তার মানে হচ্ছে তার খিদে, শরীরের খিদেটা দেখা যাচ্ছে না, it is hidden, লুকিয়ে আছে. বাচ্চাটার ক্যালোরি যথেষ্ট পাচ্ছে কিন্তু সে আয়রন পাচ্ছে না, তার শরীরে আয়রনের খিদেটা রয়েছে. ইট ইজ নোন অ্যাজ এ হিডেন হাঙ্গার. সেটার জন্য বাচ্চা কাঁদবে না প্রত্যেকদিন. দ্য চাইল্ড উইল নট ক্রাই এভরি মোমেন্ট ফর দ্য হিডেন হাঙ্গার, বাট দ্য বডি ইজ ক্রাইং ফর দ্য নিউট্রিয়েন্ট. সো দিস ইজ আ ভেরি ইম্পর্টেন্ট টার্ম. এবং সেই জন্য যখনই আমরা নিউট্রিশন, উই লুক অ্যাট দ্য নিউট্রিশন হোলিস্টিক ওয়ে, তখন সব দরকার. আমাদের ফ্যাট নেসেসারি, প্রোটিন নেসেসারি, কার্বোহাইড্রেট নেসেসারি, nuts and pulses, fruits, and these micronutrients. They're all necessary to have a balanced diet and ensuring proper growth. And last thing is that nutritional supplement. Nutritional supplement, as Dr. Pedro said, if the family can afford, then nutritional supplement plays a very important role. Because আমরা অনেক সময় বাবা মায়েরা মনে করি যে যথেষ্ট কার্বোহাইড্রেট দিলেই শরীরের সমস্ত গঠন ঠিক থাকবে, বেশি করে ভাত খেলেই হবে. ইটস নট লাইক দ্যাট. তার মধ্যে যথেষ্ট প্রোটিন দরকার, যথেষ্ট মিনারেলস দরকার এবং অ্যাডিকুয়েট অ্যামাউন্ট অফ ফ্যাট দরকার. সো নিউট্রিশনাল সাপ্লিমেন্ট, ডক্টর পেড্রো হ্যাজ সেড, it is not you substitute your main meal. It is not that যে আমি ভাত খেলাম না নিউট্রিশনাল সাপ্লিমেন্ট খেয়ে নিলাম, নো। বাট ইফ দের ইজ এ গ্যাপ ইন নিউট্রিশন, ধরুন আমার 800 ক্যালোরি লাগবে, আমি 500 ক্যালোরি, বাচ্চাটা যা খায় তাতে 500 ক্যালোরি পাচ্ছে, so 300 calorie I can supplement with the nutritional supplement that will make the growth proper and adequate. I will take just 2 to 3 minutes more. There are few points on the healthy growth. এই healthy growth এর জন্য ফার্স্ট অফ অল বাচ্চাদের অ্যাক্টিভিটি আমাদের থেকে অনেক বেশি। একটা বাচ্চা যে অ্যাক্টিভিটি করে সেটা অ্যাজ অ্যান অ্যাডাল্ট উই ক্যানট imitate. It is impossible for us. Naturally, they require more calorie. The calorie is required for the growth as well as for the development and as well as for maintaining the day-to-day activities. So they need more calorie, they need more nutrition. This is number one. Number two, প্রত্যেকটা বাবা মায়ের একটা জায়গায় খেয়াল রাখতে হবে যে whether the child is growing or not. A child is healthy, the ultimate parameter is the growth. So how to monitor the growth is very simple. There is a growth chart. যখন বাচ্চাকে নিয়ে ডাক্তারের কাছে যাওয়া হচ্ছে, starting from 6 weeks, we go visit the pediatrician. The parents visit the pediatrician. তো সেখানে আমরা যে গ্রোথ চার্টটা তার মধ্যে প্লট যদি করি যে বয়স অনুযায়ী তার ওজন এবং হাইট বাড়ছে কিনা, এবং না বাড়লে সেই জিনিসটাকে ডাক্তারবাবুর নজরে আনা, to bring that thing to the pediatrician who is looking after the child. This is very important. এবং এটা খুব it is inexpensive একটা চার্টে প্লট করা, so it will give you a guidance. All the parents can get that guidance that the child is growing properly or not, but it is not taking care of the micronutrients. এখানে বাচ্চার ওজন বাড়ছে কিনা, হাইট বাড়ছে কিনা, মাথার মাপ বাড়ছে কিনা, head circumference, which is indirect measurement of the brain growth. এই তিনটে জিনিস routinely আমরা দেখি as a pediatrician, and the parents also should take care of these things are plotted accordingly, and তার থেকে they can get a guidance. Third হচ্ছে যে eat the right thing. অনেক বাচ্চাকেই আমরা দেখি যেটা বাবা মায়েরা 1 বছর বয়স হয়ে গেছে কি 1.5 বছর বয়স হয়ে গেছে, সারাদিনে 4 বার 5 বার 6 বার করে দুধ খাওয়াচ্ছে। Milk is not the right food after say 1 year or 6 months. 6 মাস অবধি milk is most important, but after 6 months milk is not the only nutrient যেটা দিয়ে একটা বাচ্চার ডেভেলপমেন্টকে মেইনটেইন করা যেতে পারে। So that is a winning. তার মানে হচ্ছে যখন দুধ কমতে হবে, তার সাথে সেমি সলিড বা শক্ত খাবার বাড়াতে হবে। এই যে সেমি সলিড বা ফুড সাপ্লিমেন্টেশন দ্যাট উই স্টার্ট অ্যাডিং ফ্রম 6 months, তার মধ্যে দেয়ার শুড বি কার্বোহাইড্রেট, দেয়ার শুড বি প্রোটিন, দেয়ার শুড বি ফ্যাট, দেয়ার শুড বি fruits and vegetables which supplement, and nuts also which supplements the all micronutrients also. So একটা বাচ্চার খাবারে এই সমস্ত জিনিসগুলো থাকতে হবে। এবং if you think very rationally, at least this part of the country, this is not a very difficult thing. কারণ ভাত আর ডাল বাঙালিরা খায়, and they are very nutritionally adequate when mixed together. It is known as a khichdi. So many of the amino acids which are not available in rice, they are in their dal. Many things which are not in the dal are being added in the rice. তাছাড়া আমরা অধিকাংশই নন ভেজিটেরিয়ান, একটু যদি মাছ খাওয়া যায় তার সাথে একটু মাখন বা ঘি খাওয়া যায়, তাহলে কিন্তু আমাদের, এবং কোনো দামি ফলের দরকার নেই, ভেরি সিম্পল ফ্রুটস which are very inexpensive like banana, like guava, these things are very inexpensive. Apple are expensive, kiwi are expensive, don't go for that. Give banana, it contains lot of things. So if we look for that, it gives an adequate nutrition. And the last point is that what is very 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 important, বাচ্চারা আজকাল কেউ খেলে না। It is the exercise and play which makes a child's body properly developed. If the child does not play, the body will not develop, the immune system will not develop, and the child will not be a physically robust person when the child will grow up. And আজকালকার দিনে problem is that the social media, even the child is 4 years 5 years, they start using even at the younger age, the mother shows the mobile phone and feeds the child. That's completely an incorrect practice. Below 2 years, no social media exposure should be there, not for a 5 minutes even. এবং মোবাইল and TV, these are practically killer for the children's health. So try to avoid. This message should go loud and clear that exercise and playing at least 1 hour, better if it is 3 hours per day, will make the mind and the body sound of a child. Okay, so these things are very important, and I have already touched upon what is malnutrition. It is not only deficiency, it is excess and imbalance of the nutrition is also malnutrition. How to diagnose clinically? Simply the growth chart. দিস ইজ ভেরি ইম্পর্টেন্ট। যেমন ধরুন কোনো বাচ্চার বারবার সর্দি কাশি হচ্ছে, আমরা অনেক সময় এটা দেখেছি, দ্য চাইল্ড, ইফ আই ডু আ ভিটামিন ডি ইন দ্যাট চাইল্ড, দ্য ভিটামিন ডি অলমোস্ট ইউনিভার্সালি ভেরি 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 লো ইন এভরি চাইল্ড, বিকজ আজকাল বাচ্চারা কেউ রোদে গিয়ে খেলে না। এবং যারা ভিটামিন ডি ডেফিসিয়েন্ট হয়, they suffer from almost all the diseases throughout the year, not to speak of the asthma and all allergic diseases also. So that is very important. And practices the mothers usually follow the monitoring growth. Again, always the growth chart is the most important thing that the mother should keep in the mind. Height weight to বাড়িতেও দেখা যায়, height তো বাড়িতেও দেখা যেতে পারে একটা মাপার ফিতে নিয়ে, কিন্তু ওয়েট মেশিন সবার বাড়িতে থাকে না। Exercise has a very important role so far as the mental health is also concerned. A child who is not playing and the child who plays, the mental growth development is completely different. Even those persons who are expert in chess, যারা দাবা খেলে, they also run in the morning to keep their body. The sound mind only happens in a sound body. So if the child does not play, the child will not have a good mental development. এটা খুব কমন প্রশ্ন যে আমার বাচ্চা খায় না। দিস ইজ আ ভেরি কমন থিং দ্যাট দ্য পেরেন্টস কাম এন্ড কমপ্লেন। তার কারণ হচ্ছে ইন্ডিয়ান প্যারেন্টিং দেয়ার আর টু বিগ প্রবলেম। We parents never sit together and eat together from the meal during the meal time. And the second problem is that the parents always sleep with their children. These are the two major problems so far as an Indian parenting is concerned. বাবা মা যদি একসাথে একই খাবার থালায় নিয়ে বসে during breakfast না হোক লাঞ্চ অ্যান্ড ডিনার, the child will learn to eat seeing their parents. মা যা খাচ্ছে বাচ্চার প্লেটে যদি তাই দেওয়া হয়, the child will get interest. এখানে কি করা হয়, একটা মোবাইল দিয়ে দেওয়া হয় বা একটা টিভি চালিয়ে দেওয়া হয়, দিয়ে মা প্রত্যেকদিন একই খাবার একটা বানাচ্ছে, একই খিচুড়ি বানাচ্ছে, তার মধ্যে সেটাকে হয়তো মিক্সিতে ঘুরিয়ে নিচ্ছে, তার মধ্যে কিছু মাছ দিচ্ছে, কিছু সবজি দিচ্ছে। There is no change in the taste, there is no change in the smell, there is no change in the color. The child is eating every day the same pattern of meal and the child is getting extremely bored and monotonous. The meal time is never enjoyable. আমরা একটা বাড়িতে ভালো রান্না হলে we always বাড়িতে ফেরার সময় ভাবি যে আজকে একটা ভালো খাবার হয়েছে, খাবো। But if you do not give an interesting food to them, the food should be good looking, it should have bright colors, it should be good in taste. এবং all of us know in Mahabharata there is a story of Abhimanyu. এটা কিন্তু কোনো মিথ নয়, this is a fact. What the mother eats during pregnancy, the smell and especially the smell becomes very familiar for the child. বাচ্চারা তখন মায়ের পেটে আছে, কিন্তু মা যা খাচ্ছে তার টেস্ট and smell they get. So whatever the family diet if you give to the child will be more eager to eat. So it is completely an incorrect practice. And second thing, যে বাচ্চাগুলো 5 to 6 years old, you involve them in the cooking. তাদেরকে হেল্প করতে বলুন যে আজকে তুমি সবজিটা কেটে দাও বা তুমি কি খাবে সেটা বলো। We never ask them, we never take their opinion into the confidence. And the last thing is that the picky eater, এটা খুব কমন, picky eater and fussy eater, খাবো না, যাই দিচ্ছে খাবো না। একটা meal time is continuing beyond 1 hour or 2 hours. These are completely incorrect technique. There is no straitjacket solution for them. খাবারটাকে ইন্টারেস্টিং করতে হবে, খাবারের এক স্পেসিফিক টাইম হতে হবে, ঘুরিয়ে ঘুরিয়ে খাওয়ানো যাবে না, একটা জায়গায় বসিয়ে খাওয়াতে হবে। And if the child is completely a picky eater, ঠিক মতো খাই না, and if the child is faltering in nutrition, then nutritional supplement can help you if the family can afford. Thank you.
So thank you so much to all the doctors, and I'm glad that you spoke this. जब ये लोग बात कर रहे थे, I was thinking about my family, I was thinking about my friends जो क्या करते हैं वो लोग, And it's good to know that probably we will not know the terminology of malnutrition, but of course, malnutrition is not only the underweight hai mera bachcha, but it is also about being overweight. It should be according to the age. And the other thing which I really liked was about the whole aspect of importance of micro and macronutrients. While we all know about macronutrients, but micronutrients में कितना हमें पता है, that's most important. Like they spoke about the iron deficiency. In fact, I don't know if how many of you know, but one of the reports did publish that there's almost in Kolkata or probably in West Bengal, there's almost 69% of children who are anemic at this point in time. It was I think 2022 report that had come out. So I mean, what importance, as in what is important to note is the role of nutrition and how if we do give children a balanced diet, because they are the future of the nation. And it is the responsibility of us as a society. It's not only the parents, but also, of course, a lot depends on the parents, but also the doctors and as a society at large as what we can do, including you all, because you would spread the word to the parents, to the audience to talk from that particular aspect. So with that, any questions? Open to any questions? Any questions that the media would have for the sirs?
ডক্টর রায় বিভিন্ন ক্ষেত্রে দেখা যায় শিশুর জন্মগত বা জন্মের সময় বা জন্মের পর থেকে জন্মের পরে নানান রোগ দেখা দিচ্ছে। সেক্ষেত্রে আপনারা বললেন যে জন্মের 1 বছর বা 1.5 বছর পরে ম্যালনিউট্রিশনের সমস্যা আসে এবং জন্মের সাথে সাথে এই সমস্যা চলে যায়। এখন কিছু কিছু ক্ষেত্রে এই সমস্যাটা কেন হয়?
না, আপনি যেটা না হেরিডিটিগত তার ইমিউনিটির অভাব, এটা ইট ক্যান হ্যাপেন, কিন্তু দিস ইজ নট সো কমন। বেসিক্যালি একটা বাচ্চার জন্মের পরে তার সর্দি কাশি হচ্ছে, যেটা আমরা কমনলি দেখি, বা ডায়রিয়া হচ্ছে। দিস আর অল ভাইরাল ইনফেকশনস এন্ড মোর ডিউ টু দ্য এনভায়রনমেন্ট। ইন এ পলিউটেড সিটি লাইক ক্যালকাটা অর দিল্লি অর বম্বে এই ঘটনাগুলো বেশি ঘটবে। নিউট্রিশনের অভাবের যে অসুখগুলো, সেগুলো ইউজুয়ালি যখন মায়ের দুধ থেকে বেরিয়ে গিয়ে সাপ্লিমেন্টারি ফুড শুরু হচ্ছে, বিকজ মাদার্স মিল্ক ইজ ওয়ান অফ দ্য মোস্ট ব্যালেন্সড ফুড ফর ফার্স্ট 6 months. The child who is getting mother's milk is almost nutritionally complete. That is a gift of the God. But if the child is beyond 6 months, are not getting supplementation properly, so far as the different food groups are concerned, then definitely disease may come. But commonly what you see, যা দেখেন আপনার কমিউনিটিতে, সেটা different viral infections, not due to immunity অভাব। Sir, you want to add anything? His question is that in the early part of the life, if a child gets repeated infection, will it be an indication of malnutrition?
Well, there are two types of consequences of not eating well. One is that you may affect your weight, your length or stature, and the other way is what we call occult hunger, meaning that you may have the weight more or less, but your minerals and your vitamins, because you are getting not a balanced nutrition, are low, and those are the ones that will not allowed. Those are the ones that we more in line to promoting more infections in the kid. Immunity is the defense of the kid is you have a good defense if you are getting all the nutrients. Otherwise, you may end up with problems in that regard. And then at early age, if the kid it's different when you have a kid that is, for example, picky eater. Some kids that are picky eaters are not necessarily malnourished, but are very selective. And by being very selective, they are not getting enough nutrition, and they are more prone to be with infections. And two are the infections that are the most common. One is respiratory, meaning otitis, tonsillitis, bronchitis, respiratory, and the other one are diarrhea, parasitic infections also. Then in those cases, there is also a situation that is not necessarily the best one for the kid, because the kid is with fever because of tonsillitis, okay? And the kid is getting antibiotics because of otitis. And the treatment of otitis or tonsillitis, it is an infection due to a bacteria, it at least 7 or more days. But many kids or many parents just give the antibiotic for 3 days, 4 days, and stop. Then the infection will be kind of sleeping, and 2 weeks later will reappears. Okay, then it's not that the defense of that, the immunity of that kid is in bad shape. Is that was one infection, and instead of getting the right treatment for the right period of time, okay, didn't resolve the infection, and later on will reappear. Maybe it will be a worse infection. This is what I can.
Dr. Pedro,
Yeah.
thank you for coming to Kolkata and enlighten us with this knowledgeable
Thank
session.
you.
Thank you. Sir, I have a question. In tropical countries, especially in Asia, be it India, China, or any Southeast Asian countries, we have a particular food value, food habit, menus in traditional world. Slowly, we have shifted to the junk foods, the fast foods, and other things. So, even if you are having a balanced diet at home, the more you are taking the food which are making you obese, you are gaining fat very fast. So, what would be the way out from this? Even if you are giving the balanced diet at home, but they are taking chips, they're taking cheese and other stuffs which are very much not healthy. Maybe the fizzy drinks. I don't want to take any brand names, but you can understand what I'm trying to say.
Yes, completely in agreement with you. And you just heard Professor Roy mention that exercise is a very important piece in order to keep health a healthy kid. In regarding your question, this is a worldwide problem in not only in Asia, in Latin America, for example, in Mexico, there were periods where malnutrition was undernutrition, because malnutrition may include obesity. Undernutrition was very prevalent. And then when parents start getting more money, the economy start to improve, then parents start getting not only food, but sometimes replacing normal food for this junk food. And then the data, the surveys have shown that the incidence of obesity in some of these countries is increasing very rapidly because of this switch. Because for kids, this is too sweet, you're not too sweet, or something that is oily, the kids love that. But we need to educate. We as physicians, as nutritionists, and you as a journalist, we need to provide parents with the right education. It's not good, because that is the consequence. And how we will solve that? Just by educating parents. Just education. Okay, in some countries, governments have established some rules, and then they are by law asking the industry that they should write on the label of certain foods that are junk foods, the amount saying is very high in sugar, very high in saturated fatty acids, stuff like that. I have seen in some countries that kind of activity from the Minister of Health in order to avoid or to stop in a way, because this is an epidemic. That's terrible. Okay, education is the best vaccine for that. Please.
Can I?
Yes.
Yeah. So, a very valid question, first of all, from you also, and definitely from from you also. It's a very practical problems, but I'll just combine these two questions and would like to give more highlights on what exactly we are actually, apart from these problems, because these are happening, we know that. But apart from that, what else is happening and where we can actually also intervene and educate people. As Dr. Roy said, 6 months, beyond 6 months to 2 years, fine. There are well-led protocols, there is a science, education is there, government policies are there. So that piece is, let's leave that piece. But beyond 2 years, say for example, when the child becomes old, its appetite has increased. Okay, he has a parents have access to diverse kind of food. There is a media playing, or that there is a junk food playing their own roles. So in this space actually, and on other side, the child is facing a challenge of not only developing a taste. We always say, right, in vegetarian non vegetarian का taste नहीं है मेरा. Okay, तो child को भी इस ये सब food qualities के लिए taste develop करना पड़ता है. He has to develop interest, he has to develop taste, he has to develop tolerance to that various kind of, various types of foods. So during this period, what happened is the parents actually should inculcate good habits so that the good nutritious family food, as Dr. Roy said, family food should get introduced in an interesting way, overcoming the picky eating habits which generally develop in these habits in this period, instead of getting exposed to the junk food. And here we are talking about during this period, during this challenge, during this very critical period, say 2 to 5 years, 2 to 6 years, where the child is facing its own child problem of developing the taste. There is a bombardment from the junk food. There is the availability, access to the junk food. But still, how we should not, the child should not fall in that prey for that junk food, but should develop a proper dietary habits. So this is actually the solution will be the balanced food. Okay, and now this was actually answer to you. Coming to the balanced food, the problem here that happens is balanced food. Generally, parents may think that I am giving a balanced food, but what child is eating apart from the meal time also has to be considered in a day. Okay, and because that adds to the empty calorie, that doesn't add to the micronutrients. And what Dr. Pedro was saying, overall balanced food has to be in a day what the child is eating, right amount of carbohydrate, right amount of fat, proteins, because that there are well-laid guidelines for that, and not only the empty calories from the junk food, but the micronutrients from the healthy family food with the good dietary habits, so that instead of going into obesity and overweight, the child doesn't fall into underweight and stunting.
Let me mention something that is critical now. When we say a balanced diet, what we are saying is that we should provide from 100% of calories, 1%, X% the calories for fat, X% for proteins, and X%, okay, for fats. All of them should give us 100% calories. What is an unbalanced diet? For example, if I feed mainly carbohydrates, that is an unbalance. But there is the opposite. There are parents that prioritize proteins, and then they gave the kids a lot of proteins. This is an unbalanced diet too, because if you give a kid a very high amount, in these percentages, high amount of protein, that protein need to be metabolized. Since it's not getting enough carbohydrate, that protein to be metabolized, the body, the protein, in order to be metabolized, get the storage, the carbohydrate that we have storage in our muscles, in different parts of the body, okay, and then the kid, instead of gaining weight, will lose weight because of this unbalanced diet. This is just to make a picture of what maybe in simple words be unbalanced diet.
I just want to add, sorry, because Dr. Roy did bring in that point, and I would like to add from a jump point perspective. See, it's also important of how बच्चों के साथ क्या किया जाता है, उनको कितना engage किया जाता है. जैसे डॉक्टर रॉय ने बोला, लंच टाइम, इवनिंग टाइम, इट्स इम्पोर्टेंट जो आप खा रहे हो वही बच्चे को खिलाओ. अग्रीड. बच्चा जरूरी नहीं है कि वो सारी चीजें खाए जो आप उसको दे रहे हो, तो उसको किस तरीके से, लाइक उन्होंने सर ने बोला कि खिचड़ी आप रोज तरीके से अगर सेम तरीके से दे रहे हो, आज हम भी बड़े हैं, हम भी बोर हो जाएंगे. वी विल नॉट कीप हैविंग द सेम, वी आल्सो वांट सम वैरायटी. सो इमेजिन अ चाइल्ड जो कि इंप्रेशनेबल एज में है. I mean, just giving an example, maybe in the family you could have, and this I'm just taking because Dr. Roy was mentioning it yesterday and I remembered it, like having like a, today we make, let's make all greens day. What does that mean? बच्चे को आपने engage किया कि आज पूरे दिन green vegetables खाएंगे. So घर में green बन रहा है. The child is enjoying it's all greens day today or all cubes day, which means जो भी vegetables कटेंगी वो cube के shape में कटेंगी. So just giving those creative ways in which we can kind of engage the kids, and sir also mentioned engage them in cooking.
Yeah.
Let them also go and do that shopping with you with some of those veggies, and they find it fun. So it needs to be engaging and made fun activity for the kids. And yes, we need to engage with the child and invest time in that as well. So that's important also. Sorry, you had a question, sir.
Sir, have you any